The Sixers destroyed the Washington Wizards. We'll talk about that next on Locked On 76ers.
You are Locked On 76ers, your daily Philadelphia 76ers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. What's good, Mitch? How you doing today, bro?
Keith, I'm good, man. I'm good. How you doing?
No, I can't complain.
Feeling pretty good after going down to watch the 76ers run over that Washington team.
Yeah, it was kind of like one of those things where at halftime it was like, let me try to finish up on this story.
Yeah.
You kind of knew that the 76ers were going to take the starters out in the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you weren't shocked that Joel was going straight beast mode in the third quarter, what have you.
Right.
Yeah. But look, for y'all who are new to the show, I'm Keith Pompey, right next to my right-hand man, John Mitchell, and we're the co-host of Locked On 76ers. This podcast comes to you 5 days a week. And today we got to talk about this game. And the thing is, here's the deal, Mitch. The first time they played, Joel needed 50 for them to win a close one. You know, Nick Nurse said that they watched the game film. They were kind of like, motivated to come out there and improve. The Sixers in this game, they scored the game's first 14 points and never trailed. It was like, what was it? It was one of those things where 9 different players hit a three. Mm-hmm. Everyone on the roster, all the active players on the roster scored a point. They had 75 points at the first half. It was just total domination.
Yeah, it was almost like trick or treat for NBA players, Keith. It was that easy for them last night. They jumped out to that 14-0 start, so they got the fast start against a team that was bad and a limping team, and then they pushed it out to 19-2. And at that point, I was like, well, anybody who went down there and paid for that one, you're gonna get you'll be singing those Sixers songs real early in the evening, But that's the way they're supposed to jump on a team that's not good, a team that's undermanned, and in their building. They're supposed to come out there and pounce on them, and they did, man. I think, if I'm not mistaken, they hit 9 3-pointers in the first quarter, and that's just not something, how often do you see that, and they were ready to play, and it was good to see Joel getting rest all throughout the fourth quarter, and starters just getting rest throughout the fourth quarter.
Yeah, it was, you know what, it was one of those games where, like you said, that's how you're supposed to beat a team.
Mm-hmm.
But also, if we're going to be real, like, nothing against this team, but, they did not have Daniel Gafford, right? And Daniel Gafford is a guy who Joel Embiid dominates whenever they play. So then, without having him, then the backup center, the guy who starts, is Mike Muscala. Yeah. And I like Mike. Mike played for the Sixers, but, he's more of a stretch big off the bench. You know what I mean? Like one of those type of guys. You knew for a fact when he went in there to cover or to start the game to go up against Joel that he was in for a rough one. Like he was literally in for a rough one. So, with that being said, you kind of figured. Now again, Joel took it easy on him. I mean, he did. He had 34 points. He had 10 rebounds. He had 6 assists. He did have 7 turnovers though, but he had 34 points. He took it easy on him to a point when you look at it. That's like I said in the third quarter earlier, is when Joel really got most of his points, because it was like he knew he was getting ready to come out the game, and it looked like he wanted to get his. So he was 17 points on 7 for 7 shooting. He had 4 rebounds and 2 assists and 1 block. Now the problem is 4 of his 7 turnovers came in that quarter. But yeah, man, that was one of those games where it was like you said, get in, get out, let's rest. But this Wizards team, it dropped to 3-19 is a bad squad.
Yeah, that's putting it mildly. The one thing about those turnovers, he had 7, but the team only kicked it over 13 times. So I think that's almost the kind of night where it's like, you said he was taking it easy on Muscala. I think he was kind of just, you hate to say it because you hate to downgrade the product, but it's one of those games where if the Sixers come out focused the way they did, that they're going to trash that team. And they're going to be able to do whatever they want. And again, it's a night where 146 points, and they led by as many as 48, almost about 50 points in the game. So it was a lopsided outing. Washington is helpless, and that's the way. I mean, it's the NBA. It's the NBA, so 82 games, or you're not going to just have games where you look at it and say, well, this is a bad team. The 76ers will just blow them out. But that was a case where, having just played a close game against Washington, that was, I think, a true assessment of those teams when they're playing when the Sixers play their best. I don't know what Washington's best is with 3 wins, but it can't be a whole lot better than, it's 3 wins is 3 wins. Speaks for itself.
Yeah, it's just they just got a tough team. I mean, this is tough team, meaning, it's just a bad season. Like, they have Kyle Kuzma, they have Jordan Poole. Right now for Jordan Poole, he's going through, I hate to say it, but a culture shock. You playing on a team that's tanking, right? Yeah. A team that's a rebuilding squad, where you're used to playing on a team that was contending for a championship.